to make the station a safe and welcoming platform for all. Nigeria Info reserves the right to end calls or remove any comments that do not follow the above guidelines. Ban users who repeatedly infringe on the rules. Should you find any contributions on air or comments online upsetting or offensive, you can also flag them and we will assess it against our guidelines. Please send an email to info@nigeriainfo.fm. Nigeria Info is constantly reviewing its policies in order to create an environment conducive to constructive conversation. Thanks for your cooperation.
Different ideologies,
different perspectives.
Share your views on the sunny side.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. It's the sunny side on 92.3 Nigeria Info. 29 minutes gone past 12. I am Gabriella, and this is the nation's #1 talk, news, and sports radio station here in Port Harcourt. Welcome once again to the show. We're going to kickstart our conversation today with technology and how it has changed our lives and how, we're going to be affected by it in the future. And I'm going to be asking you a question. If social media was taken away right now, all of it, not just Twitter, if Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, all of social media was taken away, how would your life be affected? I'll be joined by guests on this hour to talk about this deeply. At 1 o'clock, the news update comes up, and right after, Chioma Ezenwafo comes right in for her program, Connected Development, that happens today. Yep, that happens today. At 1:30, his story comes up, and 2 p.m. we're going to wrap the show up with Architect's World.
Different ideologies,
different perspectives.
Share your views on the sunny side.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Welcome back to the show. The conversation begins here. Technology, as we know, has affected almost every aspect of our lives, from transport to safety, to access, to healthcare, even food, productivity, socialization. Every aspect of our lives has been affected and influenced by technology. Now, talking about the power of the internet, we know it has enabled global communities to form and, create ideas and resources to be shared even more easily. We have the technology available to us to enable the management of our daily lives and the sharing of valuable information with our friends. We have video calls right now. It just makes easy communication. It's an essential tool that, we cannot avoid. It plays a very important role in the majority of our lives. Technology essentially harnesses the tools, technologies, and strategies used to help solve us problems and simply makes our lives better and easier to live and even work. You find people who now work remotely. Think about what happened last year across the world with the pandemic COVID-19. A lot of people began to work remotely. Even the media, some media houses, television stations run their TV programs and even news from their houses. Talk about the CNN, the BBC. Most of the major media outfits began to adopt working remotely. The private sector, most companies as well, most entrepreneurs began to work remotely through the use of technology, the internet. And so with all of these new ways of communication, social media was birthed, and it's no longer news how powerful social media as a tool has become in Nigeria, especially. Just a couple of days ago, we heard about the ban of the use of Twitter in Nigeria, and for the past few days it's been one of our top conversations across the nation on diverse platforms, from the media, radio to TV houses, the print newspapers, even to individual conversations. That has been one of the top stories on our lips. But the question right now is, how has it really changed your life, and what does the future, especially for Nigeria, hold when it comes down to technology? Well, joining me via telephone is my guest, Mr. Amos Albert. He's a Google developer, and I'm glad that he could join me on the show. Good afternoon.
Hi, Daddy.
Good afternoon. You're welcome. How are you?
Thank you.
It's been a while, though.
I'm fine. Yeah, Lagos is that's I am right now.
Right.
So yeah, but I'll be back to Port Harcourt soon.
Awesome. We can't wait to have you. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
All right, let's start a conversation from the basics. What's the effect of technology on human interaction?
I think we've come to the point where, for those of you that believe in the theory of evolution, I think this is the human species evolving, really, because I don't think it's a coincidence that children are instinctively knowing how to handle smartphones. You know, they just see it and they know that they have to swipe on the graph. You know, I think this is the next frontier of humanity. Technically, every part of our life has been taken over by technology, from how we interact with people to how we conduct our business, even down to governance. So, technology has come to stay, and its influence in our lives only gets stronger.
And what would you say is the impact, like you just mentioned, with governance in Nigeria? What would you say is the impact of technology with how we govern right now?
With how we govern right now,
Yes.
It's sad because we technology advocates have been complaining about the government's lack of knowledge of the technology space. You know, you have whole industries that have gone unregulated because the government hasn't really stepped in. And then when they step in, they don't really understand how things work. They just pass whatever laws they feel they should pass in order to maintain control, and they do a lot of damage. So it's really poor, I have to say. Government needs a lot of education on how technology works and how to go about regulating certain fields of technology. And the one that everybody's talking about right now with the social media censorship, which has just basically started with the Twitter ban. And you know, for platforms that are trying to focus on freedom of speech, freedom of expression, there's really not much you can do about that. Yes, there's a lot of fake news going out and spreading on social media and all of that. Yes, there should be ways to control fake news, and even the countries like the US, UK, they're still looking for ways to do that. But to completely ban the platform in a country, you know, that's wrong. That's completely wrong.
And that's been one very huge conversation in the past few days. But coming back down to, you know, how we have handled technology in terms of governance, you did mention that we're doing very badly in that regard. Why do you think the Nigerian government still has not embraced technology completely, or to a very large extent, when it comes to governance?
Because it's looking like the only reason why they're interested in social media censorship is because, I don't know, maybe it's not working to their advantage as it is, because a lot of people are unhappy with the security issues in the country. They've been venting their frustrations online, and you know, a lot of these things, most of them have not really been addressed. You know, but then the government now decides, okay, we want to stop people from just, you know, talking about these things, talking about their displeasure with the current administration, and you know, it's just really messy. And we should have seen this coming, actually, because for a very long time, for example, I'm in the gaming industry. There are basically no laws for my industry here in Nigeria. There are no laws, like, whatsoever. The only laws, when you talk about gaming, the only laws you have are for betting shops and gambling platforms. You don't have anything for electronic entertainment. You understand? And the e-commerce suffered this for a while, and some other technology spaces have suffered this for a while. And then you're not thinking about, okay, if Nigeria has to, you know, jump full time into big tech, because, I mean, we have to look at all avenues of improving our economy, and technology is basically one of the biggest right now. So, but thinking of jumping into big tech, is this how we want to manage our own big tech companies? That once the government doesn't like something, just decide to shut it down? And come on. Donald Trump was president of America. He tweeted something that wasn't, you know, that Twitter didn't find, you know, right according to their policies, and they basically deleted his account. They just shut down Twitter in America. So why are we acting like this?
That's a very interesting argument to have, and I think that's the same argument lots of Nigerians are having right now. But still talking about governance, before we move to something else, while you were speaking, I was thinking about, how we have responded. That is, the government has responded to the technology. I mean, look at what happened last year with the pandemic and how e-learning, for example, was being suggested. We see how poorly that was adopted, especially in public schools, and even some private schools found difficulty with adopting e-learning. So it really does cut across not just the government now, but us as a people. Do you think perhaps this has anything to do with our peculiarity as in Nigeria?
Again, it still boils down to the government's lack of knowledge of the technology space. They don't know what they're doing with technology. You understand? I think the few of them that actually try to update themselves only updated themselves as much as it could improve their political career. So how do we campaign online, or how do we, just things like that. They don't really know the core of what it can do for an economy. And that is why till today you have schools and you're learning things like programming languages that are no longer in existence. How do you expect people to come to terms with the reality that they're facing out here? Someone goes to school to read computer science, he graduates, and he has never even heard of a compiler before. How does that work? So it goes down to a lot of things. Because of their lack of knowledge in that space, they don't even know the kind of things they should put into the curriculum even from the primary level. So it's just a total shambles.
All right, so you can join the conversation at whatever point you are deemed to do so. The question right now I'm asking, if social media as you know it was taken away right now, how would your life be affected? How is that going to impact on your life? The phone lines are open, so you can call in live, 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003. You can also call 0817 923 0007 or 0817 923 0009. The WhatsApp number is 0809 030 6416. Now, on that premise, Mr. Alberts, let's talk about the use of social media in our space. Now, with all of the peculiarities we have as a nation, what do you think the future of social media is for us as a tool of communication and, of course, especially freedom of expression?
Social media's influence cannot be taken away anymore, okay? Because especially now that a lot of countries are pushing for this globalization, you really can't take away the internet. Like, for example, a lot of people, a lot of companies, even here in Nigeria, depend on social media for their marketing, for their advertising, right? A lot of, even in your own field, like the media, it's a huge platform for, even if it's not just disseminating information and getting your news out there, but also getting eyewitness reports. It's really important. It helps a lot. So you really can't take it away as it is right now, because this is how some people were born into the Facebook, we're born into, basically call them Facebook generation, because we're born into Facebook, born into Twitter. So this is all they know. This is like, it's a huge part of their lives. And then just wake up one morning and decide, we have to take it away because we don't think it's beneficial. Come on. Nothing works like that.
Now, there are reports that there were some reports earlier last week that the federal government had met China's cyberspace administration and had discussed plans of building a Nigerian internet firewall, which would give the government power to block access to VPN, following the Twitter ban. But though the federal government has responded, said it's a false report and has no such plans. But what do you think about, the control of the internet space based on this premise and, of course, the current happenings?
I can't remember exactly. I know there was a conference one time that was held, I think in 2018 or 2017. I cannot remember the details. It was, they were talking about censorship of internet for each country. Like each country should be responsible for what comes in, and and there was a huge opposition, because this now also limits countries' ability to scale. So, for example, Twitter was in America and probably other countries, and because of the use of Twitter in Africa, they decided, okay, let's set up office here in Africa. They would have come to Nigeria, but they ended up going to Ghana, and we all know why. So the company scaled because they saw that they got new users from this part of the world. Now, if African leaders had come together to say, okay, beneficial to us, or we see them as dangerous, or their presence in Nigeria is suspicious, what happens to that business? They can't scale anymore. What happens to the investment that went into that business? You understand?
Right.
So I believe in the global village, which is the internet, and I think the government's approach, particularly the Nigerian government's approach to try to censor what comes in, is really, really, really wrong. It's wrong, it's unethical, because, in as much as I have freedom of expression and freedom of speech, I have freedom to read whatever information I want to read. You understand? As long as that information is not, it's not some kind of inciting violence or inciting war or anything. And of course, you can see on Twitter the trend. A lot of people have been putting up, some people have put up like pro-Biafra tweets and talking about how they're going to cause violence. Their tweets have been taken down rapidly.
Right.
People are reporting it because, people are reporting these tweets like this is inciting violence. And Twitter is not a platform for promoting violence. They tell you that it's written in stone. Even though there's no stone structure. Anyway, but it's kind of like written in stone. So everyone knows that, So,
okay, let's not talk control. Let's not talk control, control of the internet space. Let's talk regulation. Is that even a possibility? Do you think it's right, as a matter of fact, to regulate, quote and unquote, the internet space?
To regulate is to control.
Right.
Okay. We're basically trying to say we want to be sure that everything that Nigerians are getting is what we approve of.
Yeah.
Why would you want to approve of what I'm reading? Why would you want to do that? That's like checking my browser history, or that's like going through my phone logs to see which calls I just made. Or it doesn't concern you. It doesn't concern anybody. This is my content. You understand? So just as we run a democracy here, supposedly run a democracy here, the internet basically has democratized information. So basically you create your own content, or rather you aggregate your own content, the content you want. So for the government to now come and decide that they want to censor what we're getting, that's wrong. It doesn't concern us.
So let's talk about how we can leverage, technological tools to, provide better working experience and even living experience for Nigerians.
Yeah, so technically, as I said, we might just be experiencing the next evolution of mankind. And there are tools for, we talk about, we saw the impact of COVID on education last year,
right,
and how e-learning became like a big thing. People were using platforms like Discord to organize online classes, Zoom, and all of that. Even for businesses, having business meetings. Like I'm here in Lagos for a series of business meetings, and most of them have actually been on Zoom. So I'm even wondering, why did I even come to such a meeting? Right. So most of them have been on Zoom. So it's basically becoming like it's taking the center stage right now, and for things like agriculture, not many people use it. They're not really into full-on mechanized farming in some parts of Nigeria, but in other parts of the world, there are countries that use farming simulation to basically simulate. Maybe if they want to plant something for the year, and they are looking at the weather forecast and all of that, they can just basically create simulations to see, okay, how is this going to perform? And they use that to make calculated decisions on where their investment should go to. So technology is just basically creating newer solutions for different aspects of life.
Now let's talk investments. We already said, and we've established on the show that the government is not doing as much as it should in that regard. So what investments would you like to see our governments making, especially for technology, not just to make our lives better, but to kind of bring us closer to countries that have gone far ahead of us in this regard?
The best and most important thing is that the people who are talking about technology regulation should go and learn about technology. That's the first and most important thing.
Okay.
They should learn about technology. They should know what these things are, because you just come out and say internet information technology sector is a danger. Come on. You need to learn about it. So that's that vacuum that we have people leading us who don't understand what we're using but try to regulate what we're using is already a big problem for us. So that's the first thing. They should be educated about it. And I don't know whether this will come from their political parties or this will come as, maybe some form of training, like maybe your orientation. Once you come into office, you have to learn this or that. I don't know how that's going to work, but there has to be a way for these people to learn about technology before they can start talking about regulation.
Maybe it could be a requirement. What do you think? Maybe it could even be a requirement to get into whatever office.
Yeah, it could be a requirement. But for me, it's the most important thing. They have to know. You understand? They have to know. Now, I've done some work with certain ministries in River State, and for the ministries I've worked with, when they don't know stuff, they're eager to learn. So for some of them, I will have to do a bit of consulting, like, okay, this is what is obtainable now. These are some of the things we can try, and they're willing to adopt new stuff. You get so speaking with certain stakeholders in the River State government, and some of them, they have quite some understanding about it. Some of them are like, okay, you basically get information from Google about what's new, what's not new, what technologies are they promoting. So how can we use this to improve stuff in like the way things are being done? What are businesses doing now? These are people that want to listen. These are people that want to learn. So why won't you see more of this from the federal at the federal level? You get? I don't think it's right that we talk about social media regulation, and they're not even talking about the big tech, the technology stakeholders in the state, in the country.
Right.
People who depend on technology for their marketing, people who basically build their entire business off the opportunities created by social media. They're not talking about all of that. What happens to the music industry? A lot of them depend on digital promotions to get their songs out there. What happens to them? A lot of them are big on Twitter. What happens to their fan base?
Good questions. Well, this will be my final question because we're out of time, so we can get reactions from the listener. But how do you think, as Nigerians, away from the government right now, how do you think we can better position ourselves to benefit from all the numerous tools that technology has to offer? Right now, there are so many platforms, not just the major platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We now have other platforms, Slack, Clubhouse. I mean, there are just so many of them. How do you think Nigerians can better position themselves to benefit from all of these tools to make their lives better?
I think we're already benefiting from them. But how we can enhance our benefits, basically, it's all down to the knowledge base. How much of these things do you know? Do you follow tech laws that update your new platforms that are coming out, or advantages and disadvantages, or comparisons to? Do you know any alternative to maybe the platforms you're already using? People are talking about Clubhouse, and just a few days ago, someone was like, "Why don't you get on Clubhouse?" Like, I've known about Clubhouse for a while. I just don't want to be there for now. I'm very okay with my Discord and Switch and the platforms I'm using, because for me, that's where I get all of the information that I want to get. So for others, they just have to basically figure out what's your discovery platform. The discovery platform is basically where you get information and new stuff, right? So you need a typical discovery platform, and then you also need an aggregation platform which aggregates all of the information that you need, or a series of aggregation platforms. So for me, my major discovery platforms, Twitter is one of them, which has now been banned. I have a couple of blogs also that I follow, like TechCrunch and some others, CNET. Then for aggregation, mostly YouTube because I watch a lot of YouTube videos. And then for online courses and stuff, there are several other platforms, Udemy, Digital Nation Africa. Then also for live stream content, because I'm in gaming, so I have to watch a lot of live streamers. So for live streaming, it's all Twitch, and then for Discord for developer communities, and also Slack. So those are my own platforms. So I think using that structure, if you have a discovery platform and then an aggregation platform where all the content exists, then I'm sure we'll be able to maximize what's available now.
Thank you so much, Albert Amas, for your time. I do appreciate you joining the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely afternoon.
All right.
I've been speaking to Albert Ahmed, who is a game developer and a Google developer as well. Now's the time you get to join the conversation. I want to hear from you. If social media was taken away right now, how would your life be affected? And how has technology improved your life? These are the questions I'm asking. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007, or 0817-923-0009. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Talk to me.
There's a statement he made. He said those that are abandoning the social media or whatever, whether Twitter or whatever, they should go and learn about social media. We have a lot of talented young ones in Nigeria. In fact, the white guys still lost.
But are they in government? Are they in our government?
Yeah?
Are they in government?
They, in fact, they are not in the government because the government will not even allow them to get there. They will not because of their stupid interests.
Okay,
selfish
no insults. I'm sorry. Just go ahead with your points. No insults on anybody. Just go ahead and tell me what you feel.
Okay. So if they will allow the young ones, why do they go to school? It's to obtain all this knowledge. So using these young ones that we have in Nigeria will expand our knowledge and the country will grow up. But they're not using them. Huh?
All right. Thank you for calling. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let me go directly to your question. If social media is taken away, how would life be like? The issue is that I want to get precisely the angle through which you ask the question. Is it if it is taken away in Nigeria or in the whole world?
Yes, in Nigeria.
Okay. Nigeria will experience more darkness, more than the darkness that the Nigerians experience now. Then the whole world that believes in research and discovery will continue to move, discovering many things and enriching their country. You can see how the level of our leadership wickedness has led us to now, that today all over the world, Nigeria is declared as a consuming nation, but not a producing nation. So it will cost them to be seen as nothing. Just like the whole world has always seen this nation as nothing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your thoughts. We'll take some messages on Facebook and WhatsApp, I guess, and we'll wrap the conversation up because we're running out of time. On Facebook now, let's see. MC Gunada says, social media has helped to spread information, and information is life. So if they decide to scrap social media, then it means life will not be complete. Samuel Kenneth says it will be chaos. Dumlesi Success says, you are deformed without information. We're in a jet age and must do everything possible to advance. Then taking it away, I would feel incomplete any day without social media. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Lucky Boy Nyeka says technology is good. If they take social media away in Nigeria, we will suffer a lot because there will be no communication. Ntia Anyekeme, still on Facebook, says automatically doom without information. All right, let's take some messages on WhatsApp. I did see quite a number coming earlier. Yep. GP says, good afternoon. To take social media away, it is better imagined than experienced. Technology is the application of scientific knowledge to solve problems. For many people, taking away social media will be taking away a vital body organ. It has come to stay. Victor Dokie Georgiou says the influence of social media has greatly enhanced the quick spread of information and enabled the archiving of some vital history that can be recalled for reference purposes. All right, sadly, I can't take any more messages. Our time is up. At 1 o'clock, the news update. Right after Chioma Izawafa will be here for Connected Development. And History comes up next at 1:30.